Dear students, good morning. Let us start the discussion on today's newspaper, that is 22nd January 2018. The first article, disqualification of AAP MLAs approved. You know from 20th newspaper that Election Commission of India has recommended to the President of India for disqualification of AAP MLAs for holding office of profit. What is office of profit and how it is to be defined? This we have discussed with constitutional provisions in the last video. Now we will see certain Supreme Court judgments which are being important in this case. The first is Maulana Abdul Shakur versus Rehab Chand. Second is Pradyut Bardolai case. Third is Guru Gobind Basu versus Shankari Prasad case. Fourth, Jaya Bachchan case. Fifth is Raman versus P.T.A. Rahman case. So the essence of these cases is this. Is the government has the power to appoint or remove a person? Is government paying anything for the individual who is holding the post? Or government enjoys any kind of control, functional control on that post? So these are the questions repeatedly Supreme Court has posed or put for test to declare particular office as an office of profit. In this first case is Maulana Abdul Shakur versus Rehab Chand case. What Supreme Court defined here is the government has the power to appoint and remove the individual at its discretion. Is government paying from its exchequer to this office? If these two are satisfied, then it can be considered as office of profit. Now, in Pradyut Bardolai case, it has stated these in a question format. Before declaring any office as office of profit, the following questions need to be answered. Whether government makes the appointment, can government dismiss the holder, whether government pays his remuneration, what are the functions of the holder and government does it enjoy control over these functions? That's what it has said in Pradyut Bardolai case. In Guru Gobind Basu case, what it stated is, all these four conditions which are stated above need not coexist. The test for this is the power of appointment. And all other tests which it has stated, these have to be tested on their merit on case-to-case basis. That's what Supreme Court stated. In Jaya Bachchan case, if post or office offers a salary that is more than sufficient to disqualify a person, the incumbent may or may not have taken the money from the office. So if entitlement is there to the office, that can be considered as an office of profit. And if the incumbent did not draw the entitlements, that need not be a basis not to disqualify. That's what is the judgment in Jaya Bachchan case. Raman versus P.T.A. Rahman case. In this, Supreme Court has stated that capable of yielding pecuniary gains as distinguished from the compensatory allowances which can be received by an individual has to be ground for disqualification. It means if I am getting a salary, it is a pecuniary gain. Now if I am getting certain compensations, it is not a pecuniary gain. This is where AAP argues. What it says is, for parliamentary secretaries, there are no salaries. They can use only the office transport and office space for assisting the ministers. But if we go by other judgments, the appointment is in the hands of the executive and work is allocated by the executive and control of the work is also in the hands of the executive. And these people can be removed at the discretion of the executive. The only point that supports the upstand is they are not having any pecuniary gain. Whatever they are getting is just a compensatory allowance. If we go by the judgment of Guru Gobind Basu, so appointment is the sole test. And other things can be other things need not exist along with this to consider the disqualification. By this stand, probably they can be disqualified from the house. Now, the great American arms bazaar. So for America, sale of arms is a strategic tool. Now under President Trump, it's more becoming a commercial tool because the arms industry offers huge number of jobs and revenue to the American government. In these circumstances, American arms industry conducts sales through three different channels. One is foreign military sales, commercial sales, and foreign military assistance. So previously, the foreign military sales, these were the prerogative of the government decisions. And there were strict controls with regard to arms export laws on these measures. And there is also legislative oversight. So, bureaucratic tangles, presidential approvals, and legislative oversight, all these have complicated the arms sales of United States of America. Now, as the president seeing them as commercial sales, which are necessary to boost the American economy, and it is in favor of India. Because India wants to maintain its strategic autonomy while importing the arms. It can only do that if there are any restrictions imposed with regard to the buying of the arms. So commercial sale of arms by United States and change in policy stand is in favor of India. And the next is capacity building for primary health care. You know that India has three-tier structure of the health care. And in this primary health care, it plays an important role in promotive and preventive health care. So vaccinations, health education, all these are supposed to happen in primary health care centers. But however, human resource crisis is a major challenge over here. Most of the MBBS studied doctors are not willing to work in primary health centers. So, how this problem has to be solved? There are many Ayush doctors. So these people, they are looking for the jobs. Why can't we employ them in PHCs? The major problem stated over here is they are not trained in allopathic medicine. As of now, anatomy, physiology, basic biochemistry, this is also compulsory subject for Ayush doctors. Now, why can't we skill them through a bridge course so that they can manage the primary health centers? That can be a viable alternative for the human resources crisis happening at the primary health centers in India. That's what this article emphasizes on. Profit and loss. This is again related to the office of profit. Here there is one good point given, that is 91st Amendment Act and office of profit. Nowadays, most of the governments are resorting to appointment of parliamentary secretaries to bypass this 91st Amendment Act. According to this, the Council of Ministers size, including the Chief Minister, shall not be more than 15% of the strength of the lower house. So to overcome this, a simple technique is to appoint the parliamentary secretaries, as they do not come under the Council of Ministers category. Now, a misleading story of job creation. So recently it was claimed by the Prime Minister that his government was able to generate 55 lakh jobs. How far it is true? So this article states that after demonetization and introduction of GST, there is a move towards formalization of jobs. Along with formalization, there is loss of huge number of jobs in the informal sector. So we are not taking these losses in the informal sector, and we are considering whatever the jobs that transformed from informal to formal sector and got the employment provident fund registration as the job creations. So it means no new jobs are created, just for informal jobs are converted into formal jobs. And in reality, many of the jobs are lost in the informal sector. So that's why taking EPFO calculations or employment provident fund calculations to claim the raise in jobs is something a wrong conclusion. That's what this article states about. And the next is, Judiciary will sort out its rift, says Prime Minister Modi. You know that 4 judges have expressed their grievances on functioning of Chief Justice of India and allocation of cases selectively to the judges of his interest. So, Chief Justice of India is the master of the roster, but however, his impartiality is vital for maintaining the independence of judiciary. In this context, the executive and politics shall remain outside the functioning of this office. That's what Prime Minister's opinion on this matter is. And then, so it is about Darwin's theory. Scientists deeply pained by minister's claim. So Mr. Satyapal Singh, the Minister of State for Human Resources Development, has stated that the Darwin's theory of evolution is wrong. And most of the biology, molecular genetics, All these are based on Darwin's theory of evolution. So there are two arguments always, evolutionists and then creationists. Creationists believe that a man is created by God. Evolutionists believe that a man is evolved from ape. So, in this context, the survival of the fittest is the theory given by Darwin. Many of the religious people they oppose the Darwin's theory, as it goes quite against the religious preachings. Now, this article appears to be important, and this is a typical Babu article. It has been written by an IRS officer who was an income tax officer. So, what he says is, let us collect more taxes. So, India inequality is very high as per the Global Inequality Report. China's GDP being 5 times larger, inequalities are much less than India. And Thomas Piketty, in his book Capital in 21st Century, what he stated is tax to GDP ratio in India is very low. This tax to GDP ratio, it has to be raised. So if it has to be raised, first in tax rates have to be increased, and capital gains tax etc. have to be raised or else reintroduced. Inheritance tax has to be brought in back. So like that, his major recommendation is to raise the tax on incomes and wealth and redistribute the tax for the benefits of the poor. So this is what is the argument put forward by this article. And finally, I have given the notes. This will be available to you at laix.in/civilsprep. Thank you very much and all the best.